The Team Never Quit podcast is sponsored by Navy Federal Credit Union. Partner up with Navy Federal to earn more and save more. You can learn more at NavyFederal.org. What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to another episode of Team Never Quit podcast. Thank you guys for listening and watching, and if you haven't yet, please go hit that subscribe button. So today, we are going to finish off that amazing and incredible story with Drago and his wife, Rachel. It was just such an inspiring story that we had to keep it going. And the second half of this story is something you're definitely going to want to watch. So with that being said, just sit back and let's get to it.
In political crime, you're breaking the point. You're not breaking the law or the rule. You're just pissing somebody off.
Yeah.
You know how hard that is to get around that?
Yeah, that's exactly
That's what when you're dealing with politics, man, it's like mom and dad arguing, and then they poke at each other.
Yeah.
And then they just keep doing that, and then some, like, to really prove a point, they'll actually get some. And the worst about it is their family.
Yes.
Like, you're dealing with families, man, and then when they get upset.
And then if you have an abusing father,
that's what I'm talking about. Right, yeah.
And he will go and beat up the kids, beat up the wife, and then so that's you have a actually perfect scaled down model of socialism.
That's what that is. That's exactly right. It's like family that gets pissed off at each other, and it starts.
And you have an abusive, violent father who is actually terrorizing entire family. Yeah. That's what it is. When the party gets out of control, when the family consolidates all the power through, of course, fraudulent election, how it happened in Poland or in other East European countries. There was never free elections. So when they consolidate the power, remember, they can do to you whatever they want to do. They create divisions between rich and poor, and the rich, they know that their wealth can be taken away from them at the stroke of the pen of the socialist apparatchik. So they sit quietly, they just enjoy, they don't come for them. But when they become inconvenient, they go to prison, their wealth gets redistributed, and the socialism moves on.
And eventually goes toxic.
And they're always the story.
Always goes toxic.
It's always
because it just builds up and brews and builds up. From the
very beginning, as soon as the Socialist Party consolidates the power, and they do it by any means, by terrorizing people, by intimidating people, by censorship. The hallmarks of socialism in these countries are, of course, censorship. That's the big one. The cancellation. So in Poland, the poets, writers, the artists, if they were inconvenient to socialist state, if they were not in step with socialism, they were cancelled. You never heard from them. You read a lot of poems or a lot of books by the author. Suddenly he disappears. His books are gone from the shelves.
They're the first ones to go. The ones, the non-combatants, the ones that absolutely.
Yeah,
that's how you know.
Yeah, that's how the socialism operated in Eastern Europe. And this is very dangerous because remember, once they take away from you the freedom of speech, they censor you, they put out the fake news, you have no defenses. You disappear, nobody will ask for you because nobody will know even that you disappear, except maybe people that know you. If you go to prison, they will create the case. If they cannot find the case, they will create the case. And a lot of people, this is why, and the law is created in socialist state to penalize free thinking, to criminalize opposition. So you hear very often, he is in prison, but the socialist state, he's in prison for crime. He's criminal. What crime did he commit? Well, in our code, it says if you speak freely and don't support the Communist Party, and you make a fun of, let's say, of socialist or communist official as a crime, so you are not innocent. You are criminal in prison. You're sitting there in prison because you committed crime. What crime it was now we know, because once socialism fell in entire Eastern Europe, including in Soviet Union, the people can see what crimes they were sitting for in prisons. And please remember, even Soviet Union was not a communist state; it was a socialist state run by communists.
Today?
No, not today. Today they got rid of socialism and communism in Russia. Russia is no longer socialist; it's more oligarchy, whatever, but is no longer socialist communist
That's
state.
the problem.
People
Is
need
there
to
so
remember.
many different terms for what a hierarchy
Yeah.
falls under? Is that when you
Yes.
say that word to some people,
Nobody
they're just
knows
like,
what it
they
means.
don't have a damn clue what that
It's-
means.
it's
If you
common.
break it down like we did, like, okay, imagine a dad who gets upset.
Yeah.
And then you got a divorced mom and dad. And then you got kids on
Yeah.
there. One's trying to give them money all the time. One's telling them what to do.
Yeah.
But they're both trying to do it to win the love and affection over the other one, even though they're
Right.
family.
And it is okay if they try to just they weigh for children attention. But when I say one of them say, well, I'm sick and tired of it. I'm going to beat you up, wife. I'm going to beat your kids up because if you don't subscribe to what I say, then we have the socialist government
Power.
and the family.
The physical power steps
physical
in.
power.
Yeah.
So when the Socialist Party consolidates that power, this is how it is being used.
Yeah.
Very
And
dangerous.
That's
process.
why we have a Second Amendment.
Yes.
Because if the physical power
Yeah.
take advantage of the First
Yes.
Amendment, then
Let me make it clear. America is not socialist state, at least not yet. We need to make sure that never becomes. But it's not socialist state, it's not communist state. Yes, we do have a communist, socialists, and other parasites in our country. But this is not, America is not socialist. It's the freest country in the
there's too many
world.
dynamics. There's too many types and
Yes.
variables of human being living in one spot for that organism and that mechanism to work.
And please
Doesn't
remember,
mean they won't try.
America,
No, try it. Sure.
America was built on ideals of personal freedom.
Yeah.
Because
there's too many variables
people.
here.
Yes, free people build America. It's not easy to take it away. So America is not going to be socialist state or communist.
Oh man,
state.
all the chaos going on out there, that's not the mean ones yet.
Yeah.
So
Our mean ones are still doing their own thing. They're not even, our guys haven't even got worked up yet.
Yeah. But you know what? I have a faith that America will always be free.
Yeah, me too. Absolutely.
I have no doubt
No
that
doubt.
all these con artists and quasi-socialists and communists eventually will not have influence. There will always be there. Parasites exist everywhere, but they will not have a lot influence on our countries. We will still stay free.
So, what is your take on the Ukraine and Russia war going on right now?
It may be unpopular what I say, but that war should never happen. It could never happen. I think there is a lot of misunderstanding. Please don't take me wrong. I'm not beating up on Russian people. It is the governments who do these things. There is a war, but I believe that Ukrainians, they just regain their freedom.
Mm-hmm.
And
saying anything that everyone doesn't know, we're watching it unfold.
Yeah.
And now that freedom is being taken away from them slowly. This is the country who was always under influence of other countries, whether it was Poland, whether it was Soviet Union later. These people never had free country, their own country. And now they were able to fight it out. And now it is being taken away from them. So my heart breaks out to these people. I went to Ukraine, but you know what? The things that I heard is from whether it is from Ukrainians, from Poles, or from even Germans around, that they are afraid of President Putin, but they are afraid as much President Biden, because they like I say, most of them, they knew that if President Biden gets elected, they're gonna lose their country. And that's the way they say. And I don't judge. I don't have. I don't know. What's the.
Bro, I don't say
behind
anything
it,
either,
but-
man, because I don't even know why they're fighting. Like, no one can give me a solid answer. Anyone who's been trained or knows how to fight and has been in one, before we go get into another one,
Yeah.
going to be like, hey, why do I need to go in there and get bloody? You got to tell me that.
Well, this is something that, like, I think we.
And it's not just 'cause they don't get along.
No. We did not. That war didn't have to happen, and it didn't happen for a long time. There were certain instigation happened, and eventually there were. And again, I believe there's a lot of Soros's influences there.
There's a hidden agenda somewhere.
There's hidden agenda somewhere.
We've seen enough of that to
But
know that.
I think all we need to know is that these people are fighting for their lives now, for their freedom, and I don't know how to help them. Like we say, we put the sanctions on them, but you know what? The sanctions that we put on the Russians, stealing. Fleecing wealthy Russians and stealing their boats is not a sanction, it's a joke. But this is what we came up with. At the same time, we steal their boats and fleece their wealthy Russians. We we pay Putin for our nuclear fuel still.
Yeah.
And that's
That half in, half out.
yeah.
Americans hate that.
Are we financing both
Freaking
sides?
Americans.
But I feel for the. I went up there. I was there
worst,
last
man.
year, and I tell you what, seeing these kids, these wives without husbands who are fighting the war up there to try to regain their country is really heartbreaking.
Oh, if they didn't like each other before, unless one of those countries completely goes away, they've created something that'll Hatfield McCoys. They'll just keep going. Because you know what we see on the TV is nothing compared to what's going on down there.
Oh, absolutely.
You know that we've been in spots like
yes,
that, man. You
I've
know
been there.
behind the scenes, man. It's crazy.
When I came back from Ukraine, actually, I went on Dan Bongino's show. They asked me the same questions. And, we have these lies. I mean, we have generals, our former generals and officials saying, well, Russians, these poor soldiers don't even know they are at war. They think they are on exercises. I say, you have to be an imbecile to repeat something like this. You have to be an idiot. You think that Russians, whoever, they send their soldiers and tell them they go to do maneuvers, the exercises, when they send them to combat. You have to be an idiot to repeat this thing. And this is how we lose the credibility.
Has anybody ever met a Russian soldier? They know exactly what they are. They're Russian. That's a thing, man.
Absolutely.
They know they love to fight.
Oh, they do, yeah.
So that's the thing, was when people come over and say something to our masses, some of them, just like when we were kids, you don't know what you don't know. You don't even know.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why I spilled it out on the Dan Bongino show that, hey, you know what, this is not what it is. That a lot of that propaganda that's being put out is absolutely not true. I went there. I just came back from there. And that's not true, that they don't know what they fight, they don't know why they fight, they don't know even where they are. This is just the propaganda. But what it does, it doesn't help Ukrainians either, because now people think, well, these Russians, they are doomed. They are no threat to Ukrainians. No, they are. Look about it. They took half of the country already, and these guys just regained their freedom. They want to be free, and now they are losing it, and we are lying about it too. So our media are lying about it.
Yeah.
That's gonna be a powerful country when they come through this. Ukraine going through something like this.
They were, if you read about their history, Ukrainian history, they were always very patriotic people.
Sure.
They were always their country. They would fight anybody.
Yeah.
If the guy's name was Jesus and would try to take their country, they will fight Jesus to get the country back. These people just yearn for freedom for their country. Poland was able to regain it. Many other countries were able to regain it. At the same time, Ukraine regained it, and now it's being taken away from them. That is really disturbing. But this war, again, did not have to happen. Mm-hmm. The Ukrainians know, Poles know, people up there know. They are afraid of this administration as much as they afraid of Putin. Please remember, this is the same administration that gave us Benghazi. Those are the same names, the same people. They gave Benghazi. Those are the same people that fled Afghanistan in such a hurry. They left thousands of our citizens and allies in the Taliban hands. Mm-hmm. So
same names.
Same names, same crew, same crew, and now
we've been through a few wars now, a bunch of skirmishes, some housing crisis, some pandemics, some stuff like that, and same names.
And now they manage Ukraine. Think about it.
Yeah, that's
very dangerous.
Okay, so let's go back to the SEAL teams. I know there's so much to talk about. Let's go back to the SEAL teams and talk about when y'all did first meet.
I'll never forget the moment.
Yeah.
Oh, embassy.
Yeah, let's hear about that.
The first time I ever go ahead if you want.
How old were you?
Go ahead.
I was 24 maybe?
Yeah, 2004. I think. Yeah, 2000.
That was my first deployment. I might have been the youngest and lowest, maybe not the youngest, but I was definitely the lowest ranking dude. I was the new guy in the task unit. I got assigned to them.
So what team were you on?
I was in Team 4 at the time, but I was working as a liaison. So I was staying in Baghdad.
Freaking liaison, dude. He was a strap hanger. Like they would. There was another word we used for it back then, but
and SEAL teams just keep rolling through it.
Yeah, man.
I was working with Grom at the time, so I was attached to Grom.
God, dog, man, that's right. We were in this date orchard next to a palace, one of Saddam's palaces. I'll never forget it. And there was a car park barn where we had all the Humvees in, and we were fixing to go out. It was kind of daylight. It was right before the brief. One of the Humvees had the doors open. And then I hear him cussing about something, man. I didn't even know what it was. And he had his hair, we were a lot bigger back then. He didn't look like that. He looked like Grandpa and Dad, dude. He looked like freaking what you think. And he's putting his armor on, and there's some Polish guys standing there and some of our guys, and we're all making fun. He's mad at somebody else, and our guys were making fun of him, and he was trying to go back and forth, and I'm just standing there looking at him. I had heard his name before, and I had just been tasked. I had to go get the rest of the Grom. They were still in the tent down around the corner there. And I go around the corner, just happened, and there's one of the Polish Groms sitting there doing pull-ups. He was naked. I'll never forget that. The trailer, in that language, he was like, "What's up, bro?" I was like, "We got a brief we got to go do, and it's time for that." And then we went out and assaulted. They assaulted the target first. That one.
Yeah,
so what happened was he got assigned to the Grom to be in, and even though he was one of us, assaulter, so he could go in between both worlds. Multiple
I was double dipping, so I was on the G8 with our guys and with them. That was the funniest part.
I mean, you were talking about combat. Yeah. This sucker had been in it well before, because we were the first, almost.
I was there already,
man. And then we came in on top of that.
You're in Iraq.
Yeah, our first go was Iraq.
Yeah.
In downtown Baghdad. We were blowing through there, man. I'll never forget it, driving through the city where the big parade ground is. I remember seeing that, and then you'd see the big, what their equivalent of high rises.
Yeah.
And then the back of them would be blown out. Yeah. Because we watched it go down on the way over. Like, they started hitting that thing, and right when they were attacking is when they sent us in, man.
So you go into this brief, you call this naked man off the pull-up bar.
it was just one of the guys.
It was our camp.
Yeah, it was our...
You have to remember, we were living in the kitchen quarters. The big palazzo, there was a Green Berets up there. They were living like a chain, the swimming pool and everything. We were in the tents, the kitchen quarters. They were actually Saddam Hussein kitchen.
Dude, they had us out in the air conditioners were great. I remember that.
So you go in there, and I want to hear the story of you knocking on somebody's head.
Oh, that was in the embassy. So we do sometimes we had to run to embassy. We either escort some people or do something. I don't remember what it was. And so I'm sitting, there's a guy sitting in front of me and say, "Yeah, Drago, I heard a lot about you. This is so awesome. This is my platoon up there. We just we kick ass, we this." And I see Marcus walking by behind, just listen. And then it's like, on his head, and the sound was just like that. It's like tung tung tung, and like he looks at me, and his eyes got big, and he gets white, and you can see this like white, and Mark's like, "Now, tell Drago the truth." The guy is like total panic. He's like, I tell the truth. Drago, I tell the truth now. I tell the truth, and he just keep repeating it, and finally say, "Well, I got kicked out from the platoon. I didn't deploy with them. I was kicked out from SEAL teams, and I'm here." Okay, you son of the bitch, lying piece of shit. I'm sorry for my language, but that was so funny. I mean, but the sound was like, and it was like you can hear that.
That was different.
Yeah,
that was a different time out there. It was different.
Yeah,
different time.
We had our rules, and then there was what they put us into, and it was completely different.
If you're looking to get in shape for the summer, then you've got to check out Fitbod. Fitbod's new AI technology is revolutionizing the game when it comes to working out and keeping track of your fitness. It's like the Google Maps versus the printed directions, or the cell phone versus the pager. Fitbod app creates customized workout plans specific to your goals, your fitness level, and your available equipment. It learns from your previous workouts and even adapts as you improve, making it the perfect workout partner that lives in your pocket. So go over to the Fitbod app today and go check out the best ways to exercise with over 1,400 demonstration videos, making everything so seamless and easy to understand. There's no better time to level up your fitness habit. Go try Fitbod today and get 25% off your subscription, or try the app for free at fitbod.me/TNQ. That's FITBOD.me.
Yeah. We remember we live in different world, and it came to the time that I remember it started blurring. Yeah, it was a funny thing because it was on my third time up there. I was doing back to back. So the guy walked up to me, like army guy. I don't know him from Adam. He just came back, "Hey, have you been here in 2003? I say, "Yeah." Have you been here 2004? Yeah. It's 2005. Have you ever go home? I say, yeah, for a little. Dude, every time I come here, I see you. I said, well, you have
right? I know, right?
Like,
did you ever leave? No, I was there the whole time.
So yeah, that's no, but it was different times to the point that eventually, when like when I was going to sleep, when I was going to retire, that thing was so blurred. The America to me became like a fairy tale, like a dream. Like when you go sometimes to see him, start dreaming. You start like, well, and you think about these things that don't exist, but they are cool to think about. Like fairy tales. America became so unreal to me. That life here, became so embedded. That my home, my everything was there. I was there. That was my world. That I didn't see anything. The normal life, I can just think about something and remember that something like this exists.
That's all I did too.
So yeah, that's how it affects.
You want to talk about pulling us out of our reality and throwing us back into Babylon?
Yeah.
There's nothing there. I mean, we lived in plywood huts, slept on the cot, and then dirt's always blowing. And then here you have everything. Whatever you can imagine in your head. It's like, is there a place with castles and people ride rides and going and it's like a fairy tale? Yeah, we have that. It's like Disney World. I mean, there's stuff everywhere.
Exactly, yeah.
It is a place.
Yep.
And it is what you make of it. And man, when they pulled us away from it, is really when I got my appetite for it.
Yeah. Also the way it started too. So I was like in the middle of deployment to South America, and I have to say to Nicky Baggett, he's warrant officer for me. In my heart, he's going to be my chief. Thank you for helping me gain my career back. He was the guy. He was a chief, and in his platoon, we deployed to South America. He was the guy who actually, after divorce and all the hoopla that I went through, put my life back together, and I owe him so much.
This your chief?
But that was my chief at the time.
They're great. The reason why we got them guys. If you get a good one, I got a good one.
Yes.
My chief was, my C-Dad, man, freaking taking care of me my whole life.
I want to say thank you. I will never forget that. So he calls me in the office. I say, actually, he also wrote me up for being mean to the platoon. I think I'm the only SEAL ever written up for being mean to the platoon. But
think about what he just said there. Not just one team guy, the whole platoon.
Yeah. That's
like picked on a whole platoon.
I have this write-up.
That's what we're dealing with.
I was just like, the guys are afraid to go with in the van with you to go on the Liberty. They don't want to go because they're afraid. And I have it. I had to actually. What he did, he made me write essay, and actually I used this tactic with my sons later. So he wrote me an essay. What does it mean to be a team guy? Why it is important to be a team player and not to not to terrorize the platoon. I didn't. I mean, I had the great guys, and there was awesome platoon. I was just going through the divorce, and a lot of that stupid shit that happened to me at the time, I think it reflected on my behavior. So, Chief Baggett, thank you. He gave me
we take it out.
But this is how I ended up. So in the half of my deployment, they called me back into office. Chief said, Drago, you need to pack your stuff. You're going to Baghdad. They need you to interface SEALs, our guys, with the Polish guys. You speak Polish, so you will be working with them. You go for 3 months, you just set that straight, and then after 6 months deployment, so after 3 months here and 3 months in Baghdad, you come back here and join your new platoon. I say, yes, Chief. I packed my stuff, ran up to the Norfolk, to Little Creek, got new orders, and flew back to Baghdad, and here I go. 1 month passes, I don't hear anything from our guys. As I'm so busy, I'm happy as one can be. 2 months, 3 months, I expected, no, they can't call me back. But the call didn't come, like nobody calls me. So I was like, hell yeah, I'm not saying anything. They don't call me, I'm staying.
Staying there, yeah.
4 months, 5 months, 6 months, 7 months, it's almost a year deployment, and then with the South America. And then eventually I got caught. I got caught because my night vision broke. I called the teams, say, hey, I need a new NVGs. And send okay, there's a new guy, some answer it, say, NVGs, me with broken English, kind of like, and who you are? I'm Drago. Okay, where do you want those NVGs? I said, in Baghdad. Oh, yeah, Baghdad. Mohammed, do you want the suicidal bomb vest with it too? It's like, you man, I'm going to kill you when I come back. Get Master Chief in line. So the Master Chief comes back. Say, hey, Drago, what's up? No, it's good to hear from you. Where are you at? I'm Baghdad. Oh, yeah, awesome. How long have you been there? It's like going on the 9th month. Oh, hold on a second. Let me get extra online. So they come back. Say, I'm going to come back because SEAL team. So I don't want to.
You busted yourself.
Yeah, I busted myself. I wish I didn't call, but I had no choice because with platoon we have limited equipment, so they cannot. The platoons that comes in, they cannot just give away the NVG. Say, okay, keep it.
Oh, well, when you show back up, checking everything in, people are like, who's this guy? Where's his stuff? And they're like, we don't know where he's at.
Well, they already knew who I was. They, when they were coming in, say, hey, Drago, blah blah blah. It's like I was like a fixture in that in Baghdad. So then they came in and they said, you need to come back because SEAL Team so is going back. It's going there right now, and we are next after. So I say, well, I can avoid. Okay, that's it. I got caught. So they flew me back. But then I said, hey, you know what? Can you go for a couple of weeks with us? We never worked with Grom, so you can help us with Grom, and then you can just go back to your platoon. Sure, I was already looking for a way to get back. When you get in that state, you come back, and you're just like, oh my God, I just want to go. You need this.
Yeah.
So like next thing I'm back by this time in Mosul, and so that's supposed to be a couple of weeks. So it's like 1 month later, 2 months later, 3 months later, 4 months later, I'm getting called, Drago, dude, we're deploying in 2 months. You need to come back because we need to integrate with your platoon. So they flew me back, and I was back with the SEAL team.
I remember hearing about you getting to do that.
It was awesome. But the funny thing is what happened. So after this year deployment, pretty much, this time in Baghdad in South America, I'm coming back, and I don't call him a piece of shit because I really like this tech. He was a tech. So I'm landing in the airport, and there's a couple other guys, like military guys, and carry my stuff. I had all my deployment shit on it and say, I need some help. I say, yeah, we can put on the curb. The truck is coming to pick me up. So it helped me just to line up everything. It was winter time, and I was like, I'm kind of cold. So, okay, truck is coming. Thank you so much. I think it was Saturday. And I wrapped myself in a poncho because it was cold. And I fell asleep. So then I'm waking up, and I see, say, what the hell? I'm looking, the lights came on, the street lights came on. I'm like freezing my ass off. I'm about to be hypothermic. Nobody there. I'm still there on the curb with the bombs and all the bombs, guns and everything. And I'm freezing. I say, okay, I start knocking on the door. Hey, I need some help. I need to call my command because, cell phones didn't work. My cell phone was dead, disconnected after a year being away. So nobody answers. So I say, I'm going to die of hypothermia here. I will survive the Baghdad, but now I'm going to go and die at home on the doorsteps. So I grab this concrete encasement with the garbage can. I'm about to throw it out, and this guy like, no. So he opens the door. I was like, dude, I need to get to the phone. So I called Group 2 command. I didn't even remember the phones. They had to find the phone. So I called them and say, dude, I'm here. I'm back from Baghdad. This is Drago. The truck's supposed to pick me up. Who are you? I'm Drago. And where are you from? I say, Baghdad. Go fuck off. We don't have anybody there. We just said, who are you? I call police if you call here. Basically, the dude started berating me. So I say, dude, I was too tired to argue. Just get OD. It's like OD. How he knows these terms, So yeah, the guy OD. I can hear the papers. Oh, Drago, I am so sorry. We are sending truck right now. I knew I seen some message here about it. We totally overlooked it. So they drove the truck. They picked me up like hours later. I was not mad. I was just at that time I was like slowly deflating from that stress. They drove me to the command. They took my gear, took my guns, and then we left. Thanks God. I was thinking about it because I didn't have a car. So I just picked the key from the pickup truck and stick in my pocket. So he shuts the door. At that time, we didn't have anybody on quarterdeck already. So just everything was in the code. I said, what's the code back? I said, why didn't the code back? I said, I had to stay somewhere. I have no place to stay. Oh, you guys can't do it anymore. Now there's a new message that SEALs cannot sleep anymore in the cages. I know you guys sleep in the cages, so you can't do it anymore. He jumped the truck and left. I was like, what that? So I'm just thinking, well, I'm hungry too. That was my wife already left. She was, we got divorced. We got divorced. So I started matching the keys and I found one of the trucks. Yeah, okay. So what do? I went to the ATM, so I get some money, maybe go get something to eat. It was like $25 in the account. So I said, I took $20. What can I eat for $20? Well, IHOP. My favorite anyway. I love IHOPs. I love the cheese blins. It's my favorite. It's like my mom used to make those pancakes. So cheese blins, it is. So I jumped in the truck. I drove to IHOP in Virginia Beach by the Barnes and Nobles. And when I went up there, I had the coffee, the cheese blins, all that stuff. It tastes so good. And then it hit me that I'm safe. So I just fell asleep. And the guy just comes back like later on, say, "Hey, are you okay?" I was like looking, this guy, the security guy, like the rent-a-cop type guy, says, "Yeah, I'm okay, sir. Do you want me to leave? I just like, if you don't mind, I would just sit here I'll order some more if I need to." Just looks at me, "Yeah, the bitch kick you out." I was like, what the fuck is he talking about? But then I'm like, yeah. Okay, so we can stay here. Don't cause any problems. Just relax. And I say, "Yeah, thank you, sir. And then I went back to sleep. So my first night after the deployment back there, when I came back, was in IHOP.
Oh, I love IHOP. Gosh, that is so funny.
Yeah. So that's
the little things.
That's the little things, And but also at that time, I was like, damn, I'm safe. I didn't know the stress. I didn't know that the pressure I was in until finally I realized, yeah, I'm home now. I can see these people walking around, holding hands, being happy. It's such a contrast with what we went through, what we seen, what we lived through. So, but this is good.
How many years did you do total?
20. But this is, people often say, these people don't even know where Iraq is. They say, look, all these young kids now, they don't care. My answer to it is, well, that's our job. Yeah. That tells me that we are doing a good job. We don't want our citizens to look over their shoulders. Mm-hmm. We don't want to be them to be worrying about some shit war going on somewhere. We are for that. We are protecting. We want our citizens to live free, not to worry about this stuff.
Yeah.
So that's my answer to this. Like, they don't care about it. They do, but they just don't think about it. And that's what we want from our citizens. We want them to live free. Yeah. And you know what? Another thing, I don't care who they are, what they are. For me, if you are American, I die for you. Mm-hmm. That's I fight for you and I will die for you. And I don't care whether you're straight, gay, whatever it is. You are American, and we want you to be free, live the life the way you want to live. I mean, I agree with everything that you say, but I'll die for you. Mm-hmm. And regardless what your ideology, who you believe, even if you are a communist, you are American. I'll die for you, and I will fight for you to keep you safe and make it possible for you to believe in what you want to believe and live as a free man. So.
Well, you accomplished your goal of fighting for America and defending it for 20 years.
Oh, yeah, you're an American.
The SEAL teams.
I'm American.
Yeah,
there's no real one.
Your original goal of becoming an American citizen, saying that you wanted to defend the country.
The hardest way to get that done, you got it done. Mm-hmm. So if anybody
how was to get in, right?
Yeah. It should be like, there's an easier way to have done that, bro.
Yeah.
I mean, the route we went was, bro, I'm telling you,
well,
man.
I just tried my best. I didn't know the ways and means.
You want to set the standard for the citizenship board.
Yeah.
So like when people are coming in, like, you want to be a citizen, huh? Tell me what you've done.
Nobody ever asked me when I was becoming a citizen here. I was told, come here, live as a free man. The only thing we ask you about is respect our ways, our customs, and our citizens, our laws, and our constitution. I've done all of it.
Mm-hmm. I love that. And so now you're out, you've retired, and you've got a wife and beautiful kids, and you started the Navy SEALs Fund. Can you tell us about that?
We started the Navy SEALs Fund in 2009. Duke Harbin, cheers, brother, because he's the one who, me and him, we started with $800. And actually, this funny story, because when we built that, we started Navy SEALs Fund. I think, like, we need. Actually, I think we need some funds to help people. I called Duke. He said, dude, let's just come to California. Let's talk about it, strategize. So me and Rachel came in. And how much funds do you guys have? And I think we have $800, maybe $200. Say, well, we need to get it better then. He took the helm of it. He started it. We grew up. We got recognition. And rest is a history, but Duke is the one who put us on the map, who made it happen. And Duke Harbin, brother, cheers. So now the way we operate is a bit different than most of the charities, because we don't have paid position. The fund is run by SEALs only. So Rachel managed the administrative side. The rest of it, all the votes are being done by SEALs. We have oversight from the advisory board and our ambassadors. But again, nobody's getting paid. Everything, all the funds coming to the Navy SEALs Fund are going out to people in need.
Becoming a member at Navy Federal Credit Union can help you earn more and save more. Thanks to their flexible terms, you can use Navy Federal's savings options for all kinds of goals, short or long term. If you're saving for a new car, they offer great rates for auto loans. And applying is so easy, you can do it on their mobile app, online, or by phone, and it is crazy fast. You can get a decision in literal seconds. Plus, with their car buying service, powered by TrueCar, you can shop, compare, and get upfront pricing on your next new or used car. Navy Federal makes buying a car so easy with their hassle-free auto loans. At Navy Federal, our members are the mission. Navy Federal is insured by the NCUA. They are open to the Armed Forces, the DoD, veterans, and their families. Credit and collateral are subject to approval. Rates subject to change and are based off of creditworthiness. Message and data rates may apply. Please visit NavyFederal.org for more information and to apply.
Well, when we started the Navy SEALs Fund, he was still active duty as well.
Oh, I was being threatened too, by the way, by one of the I don't remember what his rank was. I think lieutenant commander. I don't remember who it was. He called me, say, because we were involved in the case of people accused of giving fat lip to terrorists. He said, you need to stand down because you were never going to retire if you don't stand down. You are active duty. I'll make sure that you do not retire. Well, I just say, first of all, sir, you call me on my private phone, so go and fuck yourself. Call me through the official channels if you want to do something about it, and just hang up. Never heard from the guy again. But go ahead.
Right. Well, and one of the first cases was really given an opportunity to defend for what was right. We talk about truth and freedom, and in that case, that was the terrorists from Fallujah. Where our guys were hanging from the bridge. And you've got, so I'm prior Air Force too. So when we work with respect on the active duty side as well.
Rachel was the Air Force Academy graduate from 95, class 95.
Yeah, so it's been challenging with rules, understanding, and then the other side over there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she tries to manage me and order. She's the boss.
But anyway, so the idea of these guys, on trial for giving this fat lip or whatever was accused of them of a terrorist, but they're defending themselves against using the same people to defend them, that they're the same people that are prosecuting them. So when you're talking about fairness in that situation, it's not really there. So what we did is we provided the financial support to get private attorneys to assist in that, to kind of take out that taint. And they were eventually fully exonerated. It all went away because it should have never been gone to court. But that's what we started. But part of the whole thing with what we do with the Navy SEALs Fund is we help active duty retirees, veterans, as long as, and we only work within the SEAL, the UDT SEAL portion, so that we can be quick, so that whatever the need is, we can respond right away, and we're flexible. So our charter is pretty broad. Sometimes, every organization has their chart of how they operate. Because we work within really just the team focus, we can be a little broader and more precise in getting that need to them. So as I said, we don't operate with salaries. That's just, how we are. Like we have.
This is my, again, moral obligation. I could not accept a payment or salary for something like this. That just is not me. And I know there were some voices like, hey, let's make a paid position. I say that would be dishonor for me to accept money for helping our guys.
And he does all of our technology, so on the software side, it's all covered. We are
fortunate, yes, that we can finance a lot of it ourselves. Other team guys and our board of directors do the same. Basically, we pull our resources together, and we have this organization that is strong, is very quick. We can react within 15 minutes. It happened. We got a call, say, I'm about to lose my mortgage, and house, can you help? When is it due? Tomorrow. Get us on the phone, and we knew who the person was because we can verify.
Typical team guy. Wait till the last damn minute for get something done.
So Rachel, Rachel.
We're the worst.
Well, and that's the challenge. So we also help the Gold Star families, and we help the Gold Star spouse, children, the parents, and the siblings.
Spouses only. We do. If you are associated, if you are a family of 5326 or officer, still officer, we stand by your side and we will help you. So that's how it works.
And then we've adapted. So within our board of directors, there's a pretty big gamut as far as the different classes because every generation has a different need, and we try to adapt. And we also are very adamant about giving opportunity and hope for those with the TBI, the PTS needs, where we don't have a specific program. We do financial support. And part of the reason for that is that, if we've talked about there's a lot of different treatments out there to help with those looking for needs with the PTS side, but people don't know that it's there. You've got some people that will disparage it for whatever reason. And our focus, so also my background, I was an aerospace physiologist. I have my master's in
working on her
bioengineering.
PhD right now in system engineering.
So you're a rocket scientist?
Well, she's about to. She's working with AI right now, working on her PhD. So I'm very proud of her.
I'm proud of you.
Like it's like Melanie. There is behind every good man, there is even.
Not behind me, she's right beside me.
Right beside you, yes. But you know what I'm saying. This,
Yes.
The one we have backing, the one they have standing by their side. There's always a better woman that make us better.
Absolutely.
So when we look at the options, then we're not just accepting any kind of whatever thing. We still have a critical eye, but we want to have the opportunity. So the other thing that's really important about doing things right away is that you guys, one, kind of our denial for a while. We talked about it before. If he's like, I think I have an issue, but he, goes, no, you look like me. We're all good, right? Because we're all equally broken.
Oh, let me step in. The way it works is like, Marcus, do I look okay to you? Am I normal? Oh, yeah, brother. But Marcus is the same like me. So we don't see these things because we progress into that decline together.
Yeah.
So you okay? Okay. So what are you talking about? Marcus say I'm okay. What do you want from me? And this is how
then the
it
wives
works.
are over here saying, "How do we get help?"
Yeah.
So when the guy finally gets to where they have that brief moment of, okay, I'll try. Like, we need to do something right then. We don't need to send it through this board of, let's go talk about it when we meet next month. Let's not do this. We need to get them to that treatment right away. And we work with the other organizations that will provide treatment, or if they have something, we'll get them the funds, we'll get them where they need to be right then. Because we went through it too. We tried a lot of different things. We had one time where he was on the airplane, landed wherever he was supposed to be, and I don't even think he was barely out of out the plane.
I went
and
to the,
he's calling me like, get me the F out of here, get me a ticket. I ain't doing whatever. Like, I'm
fine.
back.
Nothing wrong with me.
So that's part of what we do on that gamut. And then we also, again, kind of open that door, whether it's from the psychedelics to, helping to also just get the knowledge of even just Christian retreats, whatever that opportunity is. And
different strokes for different folks. Not something may not work for you, maybe it's something else, but we cannot say, well, because we don't have we cannot help you on this. We only help you to go to the gym and work out, or we help you with this or that. I think we should be more open to different treatments.
Absolutely.
And I would like to say something here. Rest in peace, brother. I owe so much to Dan Cirillo, Taco. Yeah, this guy took his time from his family, from his job, whatever he was doing. He dragged me back to the treatment. He said, you're going, or I'm taking you there, but you are going there. And I'll be there with you. So he didn't need any of it. He didn't have to do it. He just know that I wouldn't go. So, Dan, rest in peace, brother. I owe you so much. And not only I, but there's many team guys will never forget. Yeah, go ahead. Because,
Dan Cirillo, Taco. Absolutely. If he hadn't been there, giving
I
him
wouldn't
calls,
be here maybe today.
Yeah, and that's part of it is that communication. So Thomas was getting calls also from Tage, was giving him calls about, hey, here's how I've changed my life. Here's what I've done.
Shout out to
different.
Tage. I'm sorry, Tage, brother. Tage and Warpath Coffee. I know. And
none of those names. That's all you have to say.
Yeah.
One name, guys. We got him.
That's my brother. Let me interject
something. How about
something.
that freaking guy, huh?
This is how we met. When I show up in Baghdad, like that was around daytime, noontime. So we're on vampire hours. So daytime we slept. There's one guy here twiddling something with the guns. So I come say, hey, what's up? What's up? I say, tell my friend, I say, are you a chief? He just got offended. What the fuck are you talking about? E4. I say, dude, I'm thinking you are kind of old on E4, but he's really pissed. I call him a chief. So I say, what are you, a chief too? I say, no, dude, I'm E4 too. She's like, you are the oldest E4 I ever met. I was like 45 years old at the time.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, that was E4.
I forgot about that. That's
so
right.
we became like the best friends. And Tage Gill, brother, shout out to you. We are still best friends. And this, you know what?
He's a good one to have.
He's a good one to have. If things go south, people like this, like them, we want to have it. I have to say this, that there wouldn't be no Drago, there would be no me, if not people like you, Morgan, Rob O'Neill, Tage, Taco, and many others, Jocko Willings, who put so much work in me, make me better operator.
I remember us all being in that one hospital at the same time. I was showing up in that waiting room, and you're looking around, the who's who of the freaking nightmares of the SEAL teams are sitting in one room. We had more fun going through fixing us than we did going in and getting messed up, I think.
That's true. That's exactly
those guys you just named are just...
Speaking of your fund and Dan Cirillo, just for our listeners...
He was on our board of directors.
Yeah,
yes.
We just lost a SEAL to a heart attack, Dan Cirillo, a.k.a. Taco, and y'all started a fundraiser for the family, correct? On
yes.
Navy SEALs.
We work closely with...
so for our listeners, if you want to go on to NavySealsFund.com, or is it .org? .org, then you can donate towards Dan's
supporting
family.
His family.
Yeah,
and it's interesting too for when we lose guys on the active duty side. There's a lot of great support. There's things in place to help support the family a little bit long term, but then even a retiree, there's the other issue. Sometimes people don't realize that retirement support, unless your spouse has chosen to insure it, they won't get that. Mm-hmm. They won't get the VA disability that they've been getting. And then, if you're not retired, if you're a veteran who's had that service-connected disability 100% for all the things that you guys have done, what you've gone through, when they pass away, none of that goes to the spouse. unless there's a clear unless the death is clearly service connected. And part of the challenge is, and what we talked about, where, Dan was a breacher, I mean, all the other work that you guys are doing in those environments, even though they're talking all about the burn pits, there's no clear thing for them to go the rehab, for the VA hospitals to get disabilities. There's nothing clear about, because you did this and you were there serving your country, that we're going to acknowledge that, yeah, your lungs are an issue. It's interesting, too, that the most recent paperwork that I've been trying to search through to help the family, it says, well, so if you were a diver, you could claim arthritis and hearing loss. I mean, there's not even with lungs. Again, the burn pits are doing stuff, but there's still no direct correlation for all of that with saying, with any of the lungs or the any of the heart issues, which that is all connected, but to get it through the paperwork, right, through the VA, through the government system, it's not there. And it boggles my mind that anyone who has served in combat, even one tour, you should get full health benefits, your family, for life. You shouldn't have to go grovel and figure out what's the secret code of, do I say I had it 5 times a month? Or do I say I had it every day a month in order to get that coverage?
Yeah.
He was going to mention, right, that's because he just did that 7 continents in 7 days, and so he's just traveled the world. And part of that was to raise awareness for the whole PTSD.
TBI, but there was not only awareness, there was actually the research. I'll talk about it in a second. So let's start it up.
Anyway,
and we'll wrap it up with the book, maybe. So it'll be awesome.
Yeah, we're rolling.
Go ahead.
Okay. We are. Oh.
So, talking about being Drago, it happens because people like you, like Morgan, like Rob O'Neill, Nicky Baggett, my chief, in my heart, he's a warrant officer, but he'll be always in my heart, my chief.
Well, it's Chief Warrant Officer, so you can call him that, right?
Yeah, that's right. Leif P, I don't know what Leif is doing, but he was chief in my platoon with Mr. Berrien. And I prefer not to say his name because I don't know if he's doing something that maybe his name shouldn't be mentioned, maybe disclassified, but he knows who he is. That was chief who made the mark on me, who I always wanted to emulate. Leif, thank you for making me better SEAL. And Rob O'Neill, like I mentioned, Jocco, and so many others, but I have to mention my close.
Cartwright, was the XO out there?
Yeah, Cartwright was in the camp. Was the camp commander.
How great was that dude? He literally walked up on me.
Oh yeah,
started talking to me like one of the boys. Yeah, and I talked to him like one of the boys. No, we were going back and forth. And I thought he was the coolest guy, and then we go in for muster, and he's running the damn. I was like,
I worked for him in Baghdad for months.
Right? Yes. That's what I'm talking about. He just had to wear his body armor with no shirt on. He was tatted, he had that talent, and I just thought he was one of the guys.
Oh, yeah.
Cool dude.
Yeah, him, Jocko, they have the same thing. I want to say about Jocko, because like working for Jocko, when I was in combat with Jocko, this guy is like, he pulls you. He's like a leader. You want to be around him. This guy makes you invisible. That's how I feel. When I was going with Jocko outside the wire, there was like nothing can happen to me. This guy is,
some of our guys.
Some of the guys like that, yes. But I also have mentioned
Tage makes you feel like that.
Tage makes you feel like that. Yes, this
I stole
Morgan.
It from y'all. Not my brother, exactly. My brother will definitely make you feel like that.
Yeah, but there's a guy I would like to bring it up, who is my personal hero. As a SEAL, he was impeccable. This guy record is awesome. I'm talking about Ryan Parrott, a Birdman.
Birdman.
Yeah, excellent SEAL, excellent skills, awesome guy. And my hero. That's something where there's a funny story here. He was blown out in 2005 in Habanilla. Yeah. That the explosion threw him out in the air. He flew like the cannonball man from these movies. Sometimes you see it.
That's why they call him Birdman.
They call him Birdman. Yeah.
Not because of his last name.
Yeah.
Because the son of a bitch got blown.
Yeah, he was flying like a birdman, and from the cannonball. And this is something that. Some people would balk on it. Why do you call me a birdman? No, for him, when I talk to Ryan, he's like, dude, this is my biggest accomplishment, like biggest medal I could get, the recognition from other guys. And think about it, he was basically thrown out of the X. He landed somewhere up there. He could be safe. But what this guy does, he's all burned up, all pugged up. He gets up, he runs back to save lives. He runs back into X, where all this pandemonium is. He's actually saving lives. He saved the life. The guy was bleeding with torn femoral artery. He's working on it. I think his skin is melting. I mean, it had to be burned up. And he's right back in the pandemonium, saving lives. So the funny thing is, like, I remember I talked to him, and it was legendary. It happened. I was in Baghdad at the time. He was in Habaniya. So when it happens, and we all knew about it.
Sure,
so
yeah,
like,
absolutely.
Dude, did you hear? There's a guy, Birdman. He was blown up. This thing. He was off the X. The guy just like crazy ran back into the X, into the pandemonium, and saves lives. And so do you hear about it? He like, yeah, that was me. I was like, sometimes you tell the story becomes so known,
like legendary,
but legendary,
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
like Ryan's, but you don't connect with the face until you talk to
Never
person.
put to the face.
Because this is the most humble guy, humble SEAL I think I ever met. So what I want to talk about it because he just was able to organize the research project for TBI PTSD. So there was 7 days, 7 continents. It was not just the stunt to go run around. Actually, he was able to assemble the medical team, the athletes, the world-class athletes. And every continent we went, there was a marathon, there was swim, there was skydiving, parachutes. And these people were being researched under stress, being tired. And the data was collected. And those 7X project, you can find it at 7x.com, 7xproject.com. And so now the data is being processed and hopefully will become useful and will help us to battle these things like TBI and PTSD. But also he's so for me he's my hero. He also is if you want to look him up, and I encourage people to do it. The 7X project, this is one, but one is birdseyeView.com, that's his site, and another one is American Extreme. So this guy, if he does something, is on the grand scale usually, and this is not, it's just something that benefits veterans, but also our first responders. So the American Extreme is an organization that is helping charities to fund charities. He came up with this idea, and he's so successful. Something like this, I would like to emulate him, and I'm proud to say that Navy SEALs Fund is part of this project, part of his project that we work together. And the guy is my hero, not only on the battlefield, but off the battlefield. Awesome. And also, he was an excellent SEAL, which we basically lost to the injuries very soon, too soon. He had to leave, retired medically from the Navy after these injuries sustained. But nothing stopped him. It didn't stop him. He still goes strong. Ryan, my respect, brother. Thank you for your friendship.
He's a great guy.
How about that, man?
Yeah.
How about our guys?
Yeah.
Like, I try to tell them all the time when they judge, when they look at me and what I've been through, I was like, you don't understand. I'm just one of them, an average one. An average. So if you look at me and what I went through, Megan, I'm just an example of what these dudes can take. Because some of our guys' are stories, when we were in war, what happened to us, and you just watch them go through it, and you just be like,
you are a good example of what whole human body can take.
Like if you hear some guy's got a trident on his chest, I don't care what he looks like now, what he's doing now, there's something inside of that sucker that you can't even imagine.
Yeah.
Yep.
So always remember that. When we get older, it's not the age, man, it's the mileage we put on these suckers, man.
Yeah.
It's just, it breaks us down eventually.
Yeah.
But whatever is inside that's driving it was the most epic experience of my life, just to be around it. Just to run with that crew. Wasn't it?
Yes. There will be no Drago if not you, Morgan.
That's what I'm saying. It's like we fed each other. It's like,
yeah.
Man, he tried to get away from that, what he was, and we wouldn't let him. We would not let him. Every time we saw him, I'd remind him of what he was, what he was supposed to be, and then they would do that. However that cycle works. It's not one guy feeding himself, man. We feed the guy, and then they can't get away from it. We won't let them.
Well, and now what's awesome is that y'all are all working on healing each other.
How about that?
Yes.
That'll let you know how close we are.
Not only did you feed that fire when you needed it, when you were working, but now that y'all are all home and
so let me
men
mention this here too. Your
Exactly.
charity, Lost Survivor, and its foundation. I don't know if many people know, but you do so much, and I know for a fact from maybe sometimes we just don't want to advertise. We need to help. We want to help. So many people, you guys help, and I'm witness. I'm know for a fact from behind the scenes that you are helping, how you are helping, and I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
And you are guys. That is something that you a lot of people don't know because just sometimes you don't want people to know that you are helping. You are. It is known, but also I know that behind the scenes you do more than people know.
You know where that
we
comes
do that
from?
through Team Never Quit. Yeah, we
Team
do
Never
a
Quit.
lot of.
Is that our guys don't
behind the
like
scenes
for people to know that they're being helped? So we create organizations that don't advertise that we help.
Yeah.
Yes, and you're doing.
You know what I'm talking about? Because if you correlate those two together, a lot of them guys won't go in. So our communities had to develop programs that, man, we don't advertise it because our guys won't go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Well, within the SEALs.
How about that for a detriment?
Yep.
I mean, that's counterintuitive to everything we're trying to do, but you can't do what everyone else does because our guys aren't receptive to that.
And like you said earlier, the biggest challenge we have as a charity is to bring people in, ask for help.
Bring 'em in.
They don't want to ask for help.
How about
until
that?
It's too late.
To put those three together to make that work.
They call, hey, I'm about to lose my house tomorrow. Can you help? I'm run out of other options. Yes, we can. We do it.
Yeah.
But Richard wants to say
tomorrow.
something.
They'll be like, I don't know, in about an hour. Like,
And that's sort of like when we do kind of an intake. So for the Navy SEALs Fund, we don't have like forms. We don't have the check the box because we want to use you for media.
We have the force that we need, but we are not asking for. We do it quietly. We don't advertise. We don't bring people in. We don't say, hey, we want you to go sign this so that we can advertise your name. We don't do it. There's many people we did help, and nobody ever heard about it. And we brought it, but I can say about one case. We got a call from Honduras, from one of the islands, where the guy was basically dying. He was trying actually to commit suicide because there was no help. He was about to kick out from the hospital. We were Navy SEALs Fund within hours was able to get the medevac flight from that island, bring him back to within 24 hours to VA hospital. This guy is saved, and he's I think he's doing okay now. But that's how quick we can act. 15 minutes and. We don't, but we don't advertise it too. Just like your organizations, we keep it quiet, we keep it secret. People don't know many of our issues. And sometimes people ask for it. Hey, I would like my case to be known. Can you? So we do that, but otherwise, we never mention. We never ask for it.
Well, we appreciate everything y'all do behind the scenes and just everything. And we're really excited about the book coming out.
Oh.
Can you tell us when it's coming out?
It's coming on June 13th, but there's a funny reason that I wrote this book. First, it is not so much about SEAL teams. There are maybe 3 chapters about SEAL teams. Mostly is about my life in communist, socialist Poland and in America. The reason I wrote, because my story is kind of known around the teams, but around people.
Everyone knows who you are.
But every time I say that, the reaction is, holy shit, it's evil. Let's think. This is not a book about evil. This book is how America is great. You can see the contrast, what there is, the ideologies that exist around the world, and America.
Yeah.
I would like the people's reaction to be, wow, we have such a great country. This is such awesome that what we have here. That's the reaction I would like to have. That is there. It failed. It is gone. This thing is lingering around the world in some places, but this is something that I would like people to see it and appreciate what we have here in America.
Have such a unique perspective from not only growing up in a country like that, but also serving in America's best military.
What an honor.
So it's really awesome.
That's that American dream thing.
Yeah.
This is American dream. This is something that...
But it's interesting. So the American dream, I like to share this story because I always find it fascinating to his humility. And when you talk about people from outside of the United States versus we talked about earlier, how we have everything here.
Yeah.
So his dream, he was, I'm going to come to America and I know I've made it when I can take a U-Haul and renovate it as my own place to live in.
It will be mine, only mine.
On wheels.
Nobody can take away from
Tenement
me.
on wheels, man.
Yeah.
Right.
And
Like,
driving.
you think in America,
So that was
all these things that you could lift.
Of course, I never.
And we have
realized
castles and everything else in between, man. But just that ought to let you know, right?
It's a U-Haul.
that. Yeah, I never realized that I
funny.
live in normal home. I have land. I have home.
Good Lord,
And
I
I
might
have
have,
my
do you have a
American
U-Haul? I
dream.
might have to buy you one. Have that thing decked out by somebody and send it over to him. You know what I'm talking about?
So funny. So what's the name of your book?
It's the Pledge to America, and I talk about it. I'm better American today than I was yesterday, and I want to be better American tomorrow than I am today, better American citizen. You know, people say very often, Drago, you are a SEAL. That's what the accomplishment. I say, this is not the biggest accomplishment. My biggest accomplishment is becoming U.S. citizen, as that American flag I wear and I represent. So this is my biggest accomplishment. I am SEAL only because I am American.
Yeah.
The American flag, you see, like I don't wear trident very often in my pants. Well, I don't wear trident in my pants. I wear American flag. People say, why is that? Because that American flag encompasses everything, and it encompasses trident. So I don't want any distraction from my American flag. I'm American. There's no hyphen in front of
Yeah.
this American.
I love that. And people will be able to buy it on Amazon.
Yes,
or...
it's already on pre-sale. You can buy on Amazon, Barnes and Nobles, Books a Million, and some other outlets. But it
and
is
the website Drago Dzieran has the links and some other information.
Yeah, because Drago Dzieran website is my author's website where I will start posting some of the images that never were published. And even I didn't know they exist. When my mom passed away in 2009, I was able to gain some of the access to her archives and some of the pictures, her letters from the martial law, her memoirs from the martial law, as a mother of a son in prison. That's the fear for my life. These are there, so I'm going to start publishing it. I'm working on it, so there's the beginning of it is already there, dragodzieran.com, but there's be more coming up as I progress with it.
And you spell that DZIERAN.
Yes,
Yeah.
DRAGODZIERAN.com. Yes, that's.
Oh, no one can understand what you just said there. Sorry, man. Make sure you spell
I'll
that
say it
out.
again.
You know what I'm talking about? Like, we need to probably do something about that.
Drago.
It's like, because the way this is spelled, it's not supposed to say Gerard. That's not what I would have had come out as my average Texan accent.
Okay, and so will people be able to buy, or will you sign books?
I'm sure they will. I don't know. Like when I get some of them, I'm sure people will ask about that. They do. So I would like to be able to do it. I don't know how yet. I never wrote the book, and it's just like I don't even know what to do with it now. But
so for us, we actually will buy lone survivors. Like we out of pocket will buy them. And Marcus signs them, and we on our website teamneverquit.com, people can buy all the lone survivors that come out of teamneverquit.com are signed. Okay. So it's just an idea for you. So you have to buy an inventory to keep, and then you just sign them all, and then when someone buys it from your website, it's already signed.
I got a piece of advice a long time ago about it. I was like, I always sign every book. Don't stamp it. Don't do nothing. If somebody's willing to want one of those and take the time to do that.
Yeah.
Because I'm old now, so I need to do it very quickly before if something happens. With my age, you never know.
This is going to be the fun part of our lives, bro. You had to make the stories in the beginning. Now you get to tell them.
Yeah.
That's
how it works.
Yep.
Well, we're so honored that you came down from Ohio for this and took time from your family. So thank you so much.
Marcus, Melanie, thank you so much. It is an honor to be here. And
man, we didn't even touch hardly on half of it.
I know we could talk for
I'd
days.
come back down after the book comes out.
Let's do another one, but that will be fun because there is so much more. You know, like the story when I met Rachel through the dating site, that people will just. But people will laugh. They'll be rolling laughing at it because there's so much more. But before that, even, if possible, I really would like to bring Ryan. If you could invite Ryan Parrott.
I was going to say, why don't we get some of the guys in here and we'll all just kind of sit around.
We should do a fireside chat with
Tage Gill, Ryan Parrott, and we have so many guys.
That's crew together. We can rally them
all. We can do that.
Yeah.
Well, and now everybody's sober anyway, so you don't have to worry about people.
And if there's so many people coming in, I'd drive here if I have to, and just but let's do that. That would be so fantastic. Let these guys be known, because some of these guys they work in the back background. They do so much good things.
Yeah.
And I really would like to bring these guys. Those are my brothers. Those are guys who made Drago. So I owe it to them.
They don't work in the background. They are the background.
Yeah.
And they kind of create stuff.
Yeah.
That's the best part.
That would be a great round two.
Great way to appreciate what they do and stuff. And I appreciate that invitation here. So with the guys that I mentioned, there's another guy I need to bring up here, front and center, Eddie Gallagher. He's another hero of mine. He survived the most intense, I think, interrogations and atrocities dished out by NCIS on the same scale I experienced in communist, socialist Poland. So, Eddie, if you're there, my respect to you. You are my hero. You survive. You are the man. You beat the whole communist type of treatment, and you survive intact. Brother, my respect, Eddie Gallagher. And I always supported you, and I always will support you.
Yeah, I got to see him the other day. He's doing good.
He's doing,
yeah. I ran into him face to face.
So nice. Yep. That's good to hear.
Good. Him and his family, real good.
Yeah, he's and his family, like his wife. Good God! I mean, I need to mention that.
How about that lady?
As long as we talk about as soon as you get Eddie was like that at the time. You mentioned Eddie. You can see her eyes get still. Her eyes get like I don't want to piece off that woman. I just better be on my clothes.
Ride or die. She's all business. That lady. She's you're one of them.
Iron Lady.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
We'd stay in
That's
touch.
the only reason he made it through that.
That's true. That's true.
I never had to go through anything like that, man. But a woman is what gets you through something like that.
I've seen such treatment, and that what was dished out to Eddie was straight out of the communist playbook. Matter of fact, let me tell this very quick. There is on CIA website, the government CIA website, there is a there are research papers. One of them is how the secret police is treating political dissidents in Soviet Union. You need to read that. You can download it. What is described in that is what dished out to Eddie Gallagher. We say Eddie Gallagher. I say Chief Gallagher out of the respect. He's not just Eddie. He's Chief Gallagher. So my respect, brother.
For sure, yeah. And Andrea is a tough woman. Yeah. We actually stay in touch weekly almost. So I look up to her so much. She's so strong.
Well, yes. And that's where I'll just add too that when everything was going on and we talked to Andrea and we're learning more about it, and as Thomas was talking about, like what they're putting through Eddie is what I
couldn't sleep. Yeah, I was waking up at night and say, "What the." I couldn't sleep. I was. It was so. It was all the flashback that I was getting. What the treatment of Eddie was just like they would be in communist country. That was atrocious. I was waking up at night, and Rachel can say, I just can't take it, and we need to do something.
Yeah, so that's where the Navy SEALs Fund.org. We stepped up, but we worked with Andrea closely, and really when
it was an honor for us to work with the
absolute honor, and just a blessing to be able to be in their lives, just on both sides. But once she did the first interview to share the story, because what always frustrates me sometimes too with it is people forget that they, like the SWAT team, showed up at their house.
Pulled their son out.
Pulled their kids out, and they had Eddie. They had Eddie in solitary confinement. They knew where he was. He was not a threat. They knew Andrea was not in the house, and they watched and they did that.
They waited until Andrea leave.
They did that on purpose.
They pulled their kids in the gunpoint. And remember, these guys, these CIA guys, they were just masquerading. They were the costumes of the SWAT teams. These guys have no technical abilities to do things like this. Mm-hmm. My concern is that one of these goons will trip and pull the trigger and kill the kid, shoot him in the head, because they don't have the training that you need to have. They are not SWAT teams. They are just goons masquerading, dress up in the costumes.
That was what infuriated me so bad. To me, I could care less about the case itself.
Who signed off on that?
It was them pulling the kids out.
I think we can get it. We need to find out.
There's one guy.
There's one guy, because like in Poland, just like in Poland, people say there's nothing you can do about it. When socialism failed, and when time changes, eventually we can get to this guy like this and prosecute people like this. But let me tell you this, in CIS, not all of these people are evil. They are people who I respect. There are people who do good job, and they are needed. The only thing what is not needed is the terror inflicted, the terror straight out of the Joseph Stalin books inflicted on this family. That's atrocity, and hopefully we can get to the bottom of it one day and prosecute the person responsible for this.
Well, it's our turn. We're coming into power.
Yes.
That's what's happening ultimately outside.
Yeah, let's
our
hope
generation's coming into
and
power.
we need to revisit this case because kids should not be traumatized like
It's
this.
all recorded.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Everything's been videoed for us. Anything and everything that's gone down, we have proof and all of it. It's just waiting for us when we get there.
Yes.
They're doing it for us.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no matter what happened, they should have never pulled the kids out
At the gunpoint.
at gunpoint.
At
It
all.
is
To terrorize them.
I mean, that they're traumatized forever for that.
Yes.
Yeah, and I think that part of how they found out because they pulled them out of the house in the street. So one of the neighbors across the street who was friends with their daughter, the daughter happened to not be there, was calling the daughter,
Wow.
their sister,
Mm-hmm.
and saying, "Here's what's going on."
Yeah.
And then they went into prison and told Eddie, "Hey, we just visited your family and terrorized it," and basically were bragging about it to break this man down. Eddie is a SEAL. Eddie is like us. You can't break this guy.
Mm-mm.
And this is why they were not successful. They picked the wrong guy to terrorize
Mm-hmm.
and picked the wrong family to terrorize.
Wrong family.
Andrea,
Yeah.
Andrea is the woman that was not intimidated and stood up.
Oh, she brought all them down. Hell
She
hath no
brought
fury
them
like a
down.
woman scorned. That woman right there turned that whole thing around.
Yep. My respect.
They had full force until they ran into her.
Yes.
Right. Well, and we talked about a lot of the guys in families giving back, and that's the beauty of what they're doing too, is taking what they've learned and paying it forward and helping other
Oh, yeah, we learn.
members.
Pipe Heater Foundation.
Yeah.
And we learn. Especially our spouses, SEAL spouses, man. Like if you come out and attack us, we get paid to do, or that's our job.
Yeah.
And then y'all learn about it. And you can't hit them again like that.
You think we are
Yeah.
evil?
Oh,
just
man,
go
just
get after our
wait.
kids. You see our wives.
Mess with
Wow.
the babies. Don't
Yeah,
mess,
don't
don't mess
Talk
with the
about
mamas
getting
and the babies.
bent
Yeah.
out of shape, man.
Yeah.
Them suckers will come on you.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't mess with the kids. I mean, the kids are off limit.
Yeah.
They really
Yeah,
are.
yeah, exactly. They probably even like it when they mess with me and you. But if you pick with, because we talk back and stuff like that. But if you piss them kids or get after them kids, mom bear come at you like nothing.
And I would like to mention one more thing. The last thing is that because people always, it is still calling me asking about the odds. What's the odds means? When we were in Baghdad, it was always odds. What the odds? Odds is everything. Odds is that something in Poland I used to say when I was lifting weights. It was odds. So that's kind of like spread out around the Baghdad, and whoever was coming to Camposi was always, how are you doing? Odds. Drago, this is fucked up. Odds.
Yeah, so let me tell you
it
how
means everything.
bad that scarred some of us. Because when we would work out in the gym, when guys it started saying that, that whole thing. So now every time we lift, instead of breathing, I make that noise.
I think I've heard that before.
I'm not kidding, man. Like all the guys when we were in there, you'd hear that. Like,
Yeah.
where'd that even come from?
That's from prison when I was working out. And,
Prison rules out there. What's
Oh
up?
my God.
So this is what it is.
Yeah.
And thank you to all American people for my freedom. I would like to use that opportunity to say thank you to America. I'm free man. I'm free man because for the fathers, the ideas our forefathers were fighting for, and the fight was carrying and it's being upheld by Americans to this day. I want to say thank you to all of our citizens, to Americans, for my freedom.
Amen.
Absolutely.
They're great, aren't they?
Yeah.
Our citizens, man. They're great. All right. Good job, brother.
Thank you.
Thanks.